This is Calvin Castine. Welcome to what we think will be an interesting look at flooding in the northern tier on this November 9th. 2 to 4 inches of rain have fallen, and probably even more in some cases. You don't necessarily have to be near a river to have flood problems. This is the Le Bombard Road in Champlain. It's where we're starting our journey. No river nearby here. This is just an area that suddenly accumulated a lot of water, and it is flooding the road. One of scores of roads that are flooded over today throughout the northern tier. Also in Essex County, but in Clinton County, the northern tier seems to be getting the brunt of this storm. Unfortunately, we scared the ducks away. We were going to point out that old expression, nice weather for ducks, and that turns out to be the case. We had some ducks nesting out here at on the Ridge Road. This is a hayfield that they were in the middle of, but as we expected, when they saw us, they took off. A lot of other places for them to enjoy today. We decided to keep our time on the camera. We don't normally do that except at a board meeting. Just to give you a little chronology of what's happening. We have moved to the La Valley Road that connects Moores to Champlain. Runs parallel to Route 11. Road is impassable. Fire Chief Albert Laporte allowed us to come down here, but he's up at the Bridge Road intersection rerouting traffic. The Champlain Fire Chief Albert Laporte, along with a lot of firefighters, are out today. And of course, there are times like this when we realize that firefighters do a lot more than just fight fires. There's certainly no fire involved in this today. This is the La Valley Road. Still trying to make our way west. We thought we'd go to the Angelville Road and catch some flooding there, but before we got there, this is McBride Road. That's, those of you familiar with the area, it's Leo and Everett's homestead up there. And another area, this is where this is not a river, just a damp area that has flooding, and the road is closed. This is the McBride Road. We're still trying to find a way to get west of here. We're still going to attempt to head west. We're going to try Route 11. We expect to be blocked off by the Creek Road. Right now, we are by the Rapids, Little Rapid Road in Champlain, where it intersects with Route 11. In this little ravine here, we very rarely, if ever, see any flowing water in here. Even in the springtime, we hardly notice any in here. And this is up next to Parker Chevrolet on Route 11. And then behind us is the Chazy River. We're going to turn and get a better view of that. The river is flowing pretty good. See a lot of debris floating by. And we noticed earlier very muddy water, which you have to expect. We're going to go take a look now up on River Street and check the flooding out down there. This is River Street in Champlain, an area that has certainly become accustomed to flooding. Every spring this is the site more often than not. We'll turn and look at the Chazy River behind us and back of the Knights of Columbus. This is in back of the Champlain KFC. River, chocolatey brown from all the runoff. There's the old village hall. Former candy cupboard, now the Champlain outlet. Grand Union, old Grand Union. And this is the Chazy River as it goes underneath the bridge on Elm Street. And here's how it looks flowing in the other direction. We're now in back of the Champlain Laundry off Church Street, looking toward the laundry at the moment. There's a bend in the river, and the river doesn't want to take that bend. It wants to keep coming in this direction. We have heard at this point only rumor, and by the time you see this, you'll certainly know more about it than I. But we have heard cattle were lost on the Gagnon farm. That was one of the places we wanted to get to up the Angelville Road. We've heard that the cattle were washed away out there. We're not sure if we'll be able to verify that as part of this. But as we said, by the time you see this, you'll probably know more about that than we do at this point. Village of Champlain Public Works Supervisor Bob Sullivan. We are across from St. Mary's Academy. I was here about 2 hours ago, maybe 2.5 hours ago, and this entire gully here was filled. These branches you see were probably an overflow from this gully. It had backed right up. It was filled to the top. This has got to be probably 20 feet deep. So this somehow broke loose and has flowed to whatever course it normally takes. Supervisor Sullivan is down there, Public Works Superintendent for the Village of Champlain. Incredibly, I came here to take a picture of this gully being full, and within 2 hours time whatever was holding it up broke, and all the water has washed away, headed of course into the river. In back of us there are culverts underneath here. When they filled in the early 1960s, they filled in to make this new athletic field at St. Mary's. This area here was all, as we saw, across the road, and they put fill in here and put culverts in, and then it washes across into the river, which is in that direction. We have now moved up to the Frog Pond area, and this is Perry's Mills Road, and old Route 11, road to Perry's Mills from the Village of Champlain. There is flooding that's going on down below. We're not sure how close we can get. You can see the water rushing through the trees. That's the river back there. If you remember the story we did with Ron Marquardt, who lives here, and also Bill LaBelle, talking about the old Frog Pond. Well, that's where the Frog Pond area was, down below. And we're going to cross this little bridge and see how close we can get to the dam that was built there a couple of years ago. This is in back of the Marquardt house. This is the area where that new dam was put in. I believe it was just about 2 years ago in 1994 we were here. Yep. There's the date marker. Great Chazy River coming as fast as it can toward Lake Champlain. We could probably spend half an hour just taking pictures here, but we've got other places we want to take a look at. We are just a little ways past the Frog Pond now, by the old canal here in Champlain, and give you an idea of the speed this water is rolling. Looks like the high seas out there. We're now paused on Route 11, just east of the Creek Road. Looks like a highway department vehicle coming through. We follow this bike down here, and wisely the biker is not going to try to cross it. But here's another road heading west. That is impassable. We're going to try to get west of Champlain by Paris Mills and see if we'll have any luck going that way, taking the Webb Dubois Road into Paris Mills. Highway Department truck. State DOT, I guess. And they were able to make it across, but as we all know, crossing roads that are covered with water can be extremely hazardous. Not sure if this guy knows the secret route or not. We're down on the Cardin Road, meets the Dubois Road. This is the road that goes to Paris Mills, the Dubois Road, the Webb Dubois Road formerly. Half an hour ago it was passable, but it ain't now. I guess if you're brave, you can try to get through. That truck is making its way through. So far, I guess if you're whatever enough to go through, they'll let you go through at this point. I don't know. Our biker is back here. Dr. West is going to look, but I don't think he's going to go through. The truck that went through is coming back. Looks like he met somebody, or is towing somebody. I'm not sure what this situation is down here on the Dubois Road. Potential for disaster. Folks that live on the Cardin Road trying to get home, trying to find a way around this. It's like Dr. West has come back. This is the Cardin Road. We've been out for an hour and a half and we haven't gotten too far yet. Still trying to make it west. We're heading for Scioto. We're here at the Wyeth Ayres plant, research plant in Chazy. And here's what it looks like here. Flooding along the Ridge Road in Chazy. We're heading hopefully to Scioto. We're on our way to Moores from, to Scioto from Chazy. And there's water across the road here. We're gonna try to get through here. It looks like maybe only a couple inches deep. And we can see bottom, so we're gonna try to go through. Corbeau Creek is nearby here. I think it's being fed by a steady stream there. I'm not sure if that's part of Corbeau Creek or just a new addition to it. We'll watch this vehicle come through here. Scioto, here we come. We're just about to head into our car and a whole parade joined us. So we'll watch them go through. You're the only road going west, you get a lot of traffic all of a sudden. It's also the only road going east. Still trying to get to the flooding in Moores Forks. Church basement is flooded out from what we've heard at St. Anne's. LeBare's stores we told you earlier flooded out in Ellenberg Corners. The Gagnon farm, we've heard several reports on that. 100 or more cattle reportedly washed away. CNN headline news is covering what's happening up here. We heard Jim King's voice on the radio. I think we mentioned that when we were at Miners at the Wyeth Ayres plant. A lot of people are treating this as an adventure, but to a lot of other people it's very serious, and people trying to get to and from their homes. This guy stalled out. This is a spot we certainly knew would be hopping, where Corbeau Creek crosses Route 22 in Scioto. Normally Corbeau Creek at this spot is just a trickle. There's a gushing rapid today. Corbeau on its way to Cooperville. This runs in back of BB's store in Cooperville. And usually at this point it's just a couple inches thick and only a foot wide or so. We have now moved up to Altona. We're on our way to Feinberg Park, where we thought we'd take a look here at these bridges. And although we've shown several vehicles crossing the road, the highway, with the water on them, we want to remind everyone that safety experts say don't do that. We'd hate to have somebody end up in an accident and say, well, we saw them doing it on Hometown Cable. We probably all recall within the past year a gentleman, I believe in Richmond, Vermont, not too far away from us, crossing a road and culvert washed out, and the man and one of his daughters died. And as you can see right here with the way this water is moving, got a lot of force behind it and a lot of danger involved if you cross the highway with water across it. So I guess our advice is do not attempt it at home, what you've seen today on Hometown Cable. Your best advice is not to cross a road with standing water. I wasn't quite prepared for what we're about to see. I just told you not to cross standing water because you don't know what's going on. Here's a dramatic example. The Devil's Den Road in Altona. We're at Feinberg Park. We knew we could find some gushing water here. We did not expect to see this. We're going closer. There are signs saying the road is closed. We went around one. This is what's left. You're seeing as I do. And I don't know if I want to get too much closer. If it fell down there, obviously it could be weakened where we're standing also. All this fell between the river and the road, and it all washed out. This huge culvert is supposed to prevent something like that. Obviously it did not. This is Feinberg Park, one of the most scenic areas in our viewing area. But dramatic, almost unbelievable. You would never have anticipated something like this. And you can imagine, had there been a vehicle on here when this gave in. We've not seen anything like this since about 20 years ago. The Boquette River in the Elizabethtown area washed out, and that's the closest and the only thing we've seen in our area that looked anything like this. The Devil's Den Road in Altona near Feinberg Park. Guardrails are dangling across an abyss at the moment. Looks like Ken Perrier's got some work ahead of him here. We've started to walk away, and we bumped into Mr. Andy Young, who was here earlier. Andy, what did it look like a while back when all this happened?
It was about 4 more foot over the top of the dam at least. And over the tennis court there at Feinberg Park, the water was coming over the top of that. Over the ball field.
Well, this whole area where we're standing was underwater too then?
Underwater.
And when it cleared, this was what had happened?
This is what had happened, yep.
So now that water was there, people didn't really realize that this had happened probably.
No.
Any idea when it happened, Andy?
Oh, about 4 o'clock on, 4:30 on. she started.
You're saying during the night?
During the night, yeah. This morning, about 4 o'clock this morning. 4 or 5, somewhere's around there.
So you here helping out?
No, down on the Woods Fall Road. You've been down there?
That's where I was heading next. Oh, what's happening down?
The road is washed out there, period. And the houses are all there. Where Lyle lives was about almost up to the mailbox, across the flats.
There aren't too many places we can go in either direction here. We're all going to get isolated pretty soon, I think. Thank you, Andy. Andy Young, resident here in Altona. This happened, according to him, almost 12 hours ago, during the middle of the night, what I would call it, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to wander around and see what else we can find. And here's the ball field, the baseball diamond. You can see the water eroded all that sand around there. The grass in the infield is kind of an island right now. So the water must have been extremely high, just like Andy said. Up, flooding the tennis courts even, which are very high in this area. We're now on the Joe Wood Road that Andy Young alluded to. And again, dramatic footage all along the roadsides, completely washed out. We're going to leave the camera on as we walk along here. See the water still pouring through over there, but obviously it was much higher at one point, which is probably that 4 or 5 o'clock at night time period that Andy alluded to. Okay, this is coming to a point. The road has collapsed on both sides. Washed out underneath. Leaving the camera on so you can see it as we do. Again, it is washed out. I'm going to go along here as far as we can. Hopefully what's left here is sturdy enough to support us. This is the Joe Wood Road. It goes to the Woods Falls area, a very scenic spot. We're going to attempt to get to the Woods Falls area. And we're not sure if we're going to be able to get there. Here's part of the highway thrown into this field next to it. It's picked up and carried over there.
I'll see you, Carol.
Looks like Andy Young is...
Car right here.
What's that?
A car on the trailer up there. That was in here.
That was in here.
Yeah.
Wow.
The wire was right up to the door.
Oh, we'll have to take a look at that car. A wire down, I would guess it's probably the phone wire. We've been gone almost 3 hours and we haven't gotten any further than Altona. We're going to keep going till we run out of directions that we can go or we hit darkness. From what we've been told, Mr. Jimmy Jubert was sitting on top of the roof of this in the middle of that mess we just saw when he was rescued. We just talked to Mark Tatro, who was one of the rescuers. He suggested we go to the fire station and maybe somebody there can tell us a little bit more about that dramatic rescue. And of course, the damage we've seen, We haven't heard anything that would indicate that it happened, but it's certainly a possibility of a loss of life. We hope nobody in the northern tier lost their life in this dramatic flooding here on the 8th and 9th of November. We went to the fire station and there was nobody there. I can imagine any firemen that are awake are probably out somewhere, and the ones who have been up all night probably getting some deserving sleep. We're going to walk through this area here because it looks like we have another spot where the road is washed out. This is the road to Altona from Moores. We're hoping to make it to Woods Falls. Obviously we won't. Went to the fire station looking for Super Dave Lucia. Dave Lucia apparently played an important part in that rescue, and we wanted to talk to him, but there was nobody there, so we were unable to do so. I'm going to pick up this footage when we get to that washed out area. They're getting closer to it. Obviously during the night in the early hours of the morning, Altona was very hard hit. Footage we saw this morning was of Ellenburg. We've been trying to make it there since early this afternoon. Here's another highway washed out. This little road here is all gone, way into it, and here's the washed out highway, and you can see where the water rushed through here. It looks like years of erosion might have carved Al Sable Chasm. That all happened in minutes, certainly no more than an hour or so of hard rushing water. Huge culvert here. But no matter how big it wasn't able to handle what came through here. So we're obviously not going to get to the Woods Falls Road from here. We're now going to try to get into Ellenburg. We're several hundred feet up the road, and even the parts aren't washed out have started to buckle. There's reason to think that there might be several hundred feet worth of damaged highway here. With our cold weather, we're right around the corner. No matter which direction we turn, we can't seem to escape devastation here in Altona. We are in Irona. Half this road is washed out. We are right in the heart of beautiful downtown Irona. I see sandbags. There's the Four Corners. We're walking along here, but we're going to try to get some shots from the other side of the road as soon as these vehicles get through. Hard to believe that one town could suffer so much destruction. Altona is almost an island right now. Almost every road in and out is not covered with water, but actually washed away. This road here is half washed away. If anybody out there would like to share some video footage that they may have taken in any of their local towns that shows dramatic examples of this flooding, we'll be glad to put those on, let you share them with your community. This is obviously the aftermath. There might be people who have footage taken when this destruction was actually happening. So anybody in our viewing area who may have any video footage that would like to share it, we're not going to pay you for it, so don't get excited that way, but if you'd like to share it, we'll give you credit for it and let people know who took it. There's certainly been a dramatic 24-hour period for the North Country. We are now right at the four-corner intersection, and we couldn't tell from where we were that there's more damage here. Frightening moments, I'm sure, for the Bushy family. Mike Bushy. Maybe we'll be able to talk to him. I see some sandbags here, Mike Bushy. What happened here?
The fire department came about midnight and they worked till 4 o'clock. We dumped 4 tandem loads of dirt in here, trying to block it because it was all coming over the road. It was coming right from there completely over, and it just washed the 4 tandem loads out. You can see it all in the back, and that's how hard it was coming.
It looks like your whole house is just
undermined
an island.
It's a mess. Undermined all this and all around here, the other side of the road. I mean, it was coming over 1.5 feet deep, 2 feet in the middle of the road. At least, maybe more.
Might I say a scary moment?
Yeah, it was getting nasty. We were, like I say, the fire department tried their best. They were here half the night, and finally we just said there's no more point of it. I told them, I said, it's just, we were fighting a losing battle.
When did it let up?
Oh, it was still, I'd say it started letting up maybe 10 o'clock this morning, 11 o'clock this morning.
And that's from midnight?
Yeah.
So 10 long hours, huh?
Yeah, because it was coming up. We had put that there, and it was coming over the sandbags in the front. Cellar was full to the bottom, everything. You see how, like around here, so everybody's the same. Everybody got undermined all around, and
This whole area.
yeah.
Any damage in your house? Did it get into the inside?
Down cellar, it's mostly down cellar. I got my furnace, washer, dryer, pumps, everything.
Altona seems to have been hit extremely hard. Couldn't believe when I saw the Devil's Den Road washed out, the Joe Wood Road washed out.
Yeah, it's a pretty good mess all over from what I understand. I could just get out myself now a little bit. It's going to take a while and mess to clean up.
Yes, I would think it's going to be the type of thing where state and federal aid might have to be brought in.
I hope so. You know, like I say, I'm sure everybody else is in just about a shape.
Now, has your house moved? Did you notice the foundation may have been moved?
No. But like down cellar, as soon as I get the water out, I got a 275-gallon fuel drum, and it picked it up and it twisted that around. I couldn't believe it.
Well, you saw what it did to the pavement out here. A little fuel, fuel tank ain't gonna hold it up.
Yeah, it's
Well, I've been trying to get to Ellenburg since 1 o'clock, Mike, and I'm not having much luck getting there. And I guess it's just as destructive there.
I don't think you're going to either. It's a pretty good mess all around here. I guess the only way out of Altona is down through Scioto.
And that road there is partially blocked.
And that's partially blocked too. That's what the fireman just told me. I said,
I may have to find a place to stay in Altona tonight. You think they got room at the Altona Hilton?
oh yeah, down there at the Blueberry House or somewhere.
I'm glad you can still laugh, Mike. We were ready to stop taping, and we walked around the side of the house, and we can see the loads of dirt. The rocks just washed right across the lawn here. How's your swimming pool, Mike?
Oh, it's still there. I was afraid the deck was going to collapse, actually. I mean, it washed out all the sides of the road.
Now, is this a county road or a town road?
County, I believe. County road, and you can see on the other side what it did to that.
Yeah, obviously the water was moving. It looks like, as I mentioned earlier, it looks like something you'd see at Ausable Chasm where hundreds of years of water went through. And
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
all the way down the road.
Yeah, it was going right down here. This was, I mean, it was all, everything was covered. It was going down there. It was right up in the air, right even with everything down through there. It was flowing over the road there. It was all filled right up. Where you see there, it was level. It was coming down here like a waterfall. It was just pushing everything through. I don't know if you got a very good look at this, but that's bad. Here, and they were doing some work, and one pulled off. Well, you couldn't see. I mean, there was that much water coming down the road, and he pulled off a little bit, and he almost tipped his truck over in here. They had to throw it out with the fire truck. Because you couldn't see that this was washed out at the time.
Yeah, it's under that much water.
Yeah.
That's why they tell you not to cross a road that's got water on it, and this is an example of why not. Now, does it normally flood in this area during the spring, Mike?
Nothing like this. I've been here all my life, and I've never seen anything like this. Never. A little flood here and there, or you get water in your cellar, but
Now, is there a river near here that might have overflowed?
or right up there, right across from Mr. Matten's house, or right on the side of his, there's a river that flows into the pond right there.
What's it called?
Tell you the truth, I'm not even sure. We never really.
All you know is it it overflows once in a while.
Overflowed. You can see where the water came, where his truck is. It came right over there and completely over everything. The trailer was like an island over there. It was just, all you could see the trailer, and the water was all around it. And I mean, it was just coming.
Now, is that road closed up there?
Which one's this? Up here it's
Straight
supposed to be, but people keep going up it, but it's supposed to be closed. I don't know. I haven't been up it myself, so I can't say how far it is.
I would say you have enough to do right here without going anywhere else. And of course, firemen weren't just here, Mike. They were everywhere in Altona.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys were out everywhere.
Yeah, we had maybe 4 or 5 of them here, and they worked. And like I say, we tried, and we just couldn't do nothing with it. It was coming too strong, and we're not prepared for that kind of stuff around here. We never had it before.
Yeah, and how can you prepare for something like that? We're still trying to make it to Ellenburg. We're at the Plank Road and Military Turnpike intersection. More dramatic footage here. The Plank Road washed out. Up that way, we're going to get a little bit closer. We certainly were unprepared for what we've run into. So far, we thought we'd stop in Altona, take a quick shot of Feinberg Park, and then head up to Ellenburg. We had no idea where we'd find this kind of stuff. It says road closed, but people are braving it, heading up toward Chazy Lake area. We suspect this is what the Bradley Pond Road looked like this winter and early spring when it had that flood damage. up there. This is a close view of the plank road. Or in this case, what's left of it. We have hopefully time to get to Ellenberg Corners, and then we want to head home before it gets too dark. But the road's still impassable. Daytime driving is challenging enough without being out here at night. Just tons and tons of gravel washed through here, and obviously this car was probably parked here, would be my guess, but that's just speculation. It's taken us almost 4 hours to get here. Well, we're at Ellenberg Corners. And this is the aftermath. You see this footbridge washed out. The bears suffered flood damage twice during the winter and spring months. In case anybody out there doesn't quite know where we are, we're across from Northern Adirondack School. And the footage we saw on Channel 5 taken by somebody in the area said was an amateur video shot by somebody in the area. This here was all underwater. Looks like a garage or something has been destroyed over there. I've heard that the dam up at Sam Trombley's has been washed out. We're not sure of that. We're probably going to come back tomorrow and try to get some more aftermath type of footage. But we did want to make it up this far. Certainly a devastating blow to Greg LeBaire and his family. Almost out of daylight here. There's that bridge, Military Turnpike. Right up there, it's closed. You're not going to get from Route 11 to the Turnpike now. With no more daylight left, this will probably be our last footage on this segment. You've been with us for the full 4 hours, only 50 minutes of tape, but 4 hours is what it took us to get it. As I said earlier, we thought we'd go to Scioto, take a shot there at Corbo Creek, then go up to Feinberg Park, take a quick shot there, and head down to Ellenberg, but obviously just too much destruction for us to not stop and take a closer look, and we did not look at all of it. There was certainly a lot more that we could have stopped and looked at. So that's going to wrap up the Hometown Cables coverage. November 9th, 1996. If you were here in the Northern Tier on this day, you'll be telling people about it for years to come.